Good morning. How are you, everyone? So, I know that I have been covering a lot of non sort of royal family celebs lately. Some of them are sort of tangentially related, like with the post about Kevin Costner. He's a friend of Meghan and Harry's, and Oprah is a friend of Meghan and Harry's. And, my channel has traditionally been about Meghan and Harry and, by extension, the royal family. As I said in one of my recent YouTube videos, however, in the last week or so, I have reached critical mass with the Kate cancer story. I've reached critical mass. So I can't sort of spend all my time talking about that story anymore because, to a large extent, I've lost respect for how that whole thing occurred. I don't trust the messengers. I find that there are a lot of inconsistencies in the message. And so for me, it's just like, it's a drain on my reserves, my nerves, my energy, just focusing on that all the time. It doesn't mean I won't talk about that at all, but I don't want to spend all my time talking about it because I find it's boring. I get bored, and then it's just like, oh my god, I'm just bored. It's a boring topic, and the constant vitriol from the UK media all the time, analyzing that every day. I mean, it begins to take a toll. So, it doesn't mean I'm not going to do that anymore. And certainly I'm going to be covering Meghan and Harry as much as I can. But Meghan and Harry, they take breaks and they go and they do their thing privately. And so they're slow news days. And then I have to talk about something else because I have a YouTube channel I'm trying to build. So I talk about other people of interest. That said, whenever I can make a connection to Meghan and Harry, since my channel is about Meghan and Harry, I will mention it, such as the fact that Oprah is a friend of Meghan and Harry's, and so is Kevin Costner, because someone mentioned that yesterday. So clearly, that person is probably new to my channel. In mentioning Meghan and Harry with Oprah and Kevin Costner, it's to keep a link to the original purpose of my YouTube channel, as I am trying to very slowly migrate to sort of new, new content, or expand it to some extent, certainly beyond Kate has cancer. Like, I'm sick of it. I'm just sick of that topic. Okay. That said, we have this story here with this woman, Aoki Lee Simmons, who's the daughter of Russell Simmons and Kimora Lee. And everyone is going absolutely berserk because apparently this girl is 21 and she has a boyfriend and she kissed a man who's 65. And people are just absolutely scandalized about it. And I'm like, should I talk about this? Should I wade into this? Do I dare? I'll be dragged. I will be dragged. But I don't share the opinion of a lot of people. Now, first, let me preface this by saying I don't know anything about Aoki Lee Simmons and her dating history. I don't know anything about her. If this story hadn't sort of popped up about her 65-year-old boyfriend, I wouldn't be paying any attention to her whatsoever. I'm not interested, really, right? I don't know who she dates. I don't know where she lives. I don't know her lifestyle. I don't know who he is. I don't know anything about her. I do remember back in the day when she was a little girl and Kimora Lee Simmons was still with Russell Simmons. Her mother was a model, right, back in the day. And she is biracial, African American and Asian, I believe, maybe Thai or something. And she was with Russell Simmons, and they had this company called Baby Fat or something, or Fat Farm, PHAT. Do you remember that? And so they were very, very glamorous for a minute. And I remember those days. And then they had these beautiful little girls. And it seemed to me from the outside that both parents adored their daughters very, very much. And I was quite stunned, perhaps like a lot of people, when they announced they were getting divorced because they just really seemed to be so into each other. And their mother was very, very, she was not shy about saying just how much they had and owned and, et cetera, et cetera. She was very, very outspoken, very strong personality. You couldn't bully her. And so, anyway, so they got a divorce and she went on to marry a couple of different people and have babies with a couple of different people and blah, 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 blah. Why is any of that relevant? It really isn't, except lo and behold, the little girl is now 21. And I'm like, wow, when did that happen? And so this is my first reintroduction to her after seeing her. The last time I saw her, she was probably about 8 or 10 years old, something like that. And all this time has passed, and I'm like, where have I been? Where did time go? And so here she is with this man who apparently is 65 or 55 or 75 or 100. I mean, I don't really know. I haven't seen his birth certificate. And everybody is horrified. And they think he's a terrible man. He's a predator. And they want to go scoop her up and take her home. And they blame her parents. And I'm just like, wait a second. Um, I mean, she's very skinny and she looks very young, but she is 21, right? And in America, that's an adult. That's a full grown adult. That's somebody, she doesn't have to emancipate herself from her parents. She can have her own apartment. She can drink. She can vote. I mean, there's very little she can't do legally. I mean, she is an adult, right? Now, I understand that she's very, very thin and she looks very, very young. And, on paper, this man is a lot older, right? And so it just looks like, he's this man who's taken advantage of her. But to an extent, I think that that's kind of ageist and bigoted because he could have been a much younger looking 65-year-old. There are 65-year-olds who look like they're 30, for example, right? And she could have looked like a much older 21-year-old. There are 21-year-olds who look like they're 30, right? And nobody would have said anything. I think the issue here is the physical appearance. I mean, he has the gray hair and she's very, very thin and she looks very, very young. And so people are just, scandalized and saying that, they're bad people for liking each other. I don't share that point of view. I think that you can like or love or be attracted to people of all ages, just like you can be attracted to people of, all races, all genders. I mean, I think it's a form of bigotry, frankly, to say that this man is too old to love this woman or this woman is too young to love this man. I think if she was 17, it would be different. And again, I think she could pass for 17. She could pass for 17 in this photo, but she isn't 17. She's 21, right? So he's not committing any crimes by dating her. It's not like a situation with Prince Andrew where you had a woman who was 17 who frankly probably looked older than this woman here. Aoki Lee Simmons looks even younger than the woman Prince Andrew was with. But the fact is, one of them is legal and the other one is not. And I know that I'm the minority here. Maybe I'm the only one who feels this way, but I feel that two consenting adults, she's not married. He doesn't appear to be married, so that's not an issue. And even so, they're consenting adults um, who choose to be with each other for whatever their reason. That's their business, right? That is their business. How dare everybody attack this girl, attack her parents as if her parents have any ultimate control over. I mean, look, our parents always influence us. We all care about what our parents think about us. But at the end of the day, this is her decision, right? This is her decision. I mean, maybe this man is the love of her life, right? This soul is the love of her life. Okay, he's in a body of a 65-year-old human, right? And she's in the body of a 21-year-old human. But the fact is, they could really just love each other. They could really, or even if they don't love each other, they could really just be attracted to each other, right? And it has nothing to do with age. It has to do with spirit. It has to do with soul. It has to do with vibe. It has to do with aura. It has to do with a certain je ne sais quoi that could possibly exist between two people, right? Um, I mean, luckily he's not, well, anyway, I'm not going to say that. I'm not going to say that because that would just get me dragged even more. That would get me dragged. But yeah, my position is, I mean, if she were my daughter, I mean, I wouldn't understand it necessarily. I'd be like, are you out of your mind? Why him? Why not, somebody your own age or whatever? But ultimately, again, she's an adult and she would make her own decisions. I probably would say, look, I mean, it kind of looks a little whatever to her, but I mean, she's an adult and she makes her own decision. And the idea that, oh, this is a cry for help and this is a statement to her father, all things are possible. But it also could be that she really just likes this person, this human, not his age, not his money, not his color, not his height, not where he lives, not the car he drives, just him. She just likes him. And he could just like her. I mean, it's possible. Now, that said, I do understand that for a lot of people, it's all about how it looks on the outside, which is why interracial relationships for some people are so unacceptable. It's how it looks on the outside. So we really have to be careful about that, which is why some gay relationships are so problematic for so many. It's how it looks on the outside, right? Which is why, I mean, what else? It's like all kinds of different ways that we can say, oh, this is acceptable relationship and this is an unacceptable relationship, right? Meanwhile, the relationships that we say are acceptable behind closed doors, people are beating the crap out of people, they're abusing each other in one way, shape, or form. Whereas you can have a relationship where you have a big age difference and they love each other, they respect each other. It's possible, right? It's possible. It could be a completely non-toxic relationship versus another relationship that looks perfectly acceptable on the outside and it's rotten at the core on the inside. That is not to say that the fact that these two people have a big age difference means that they have a healthy relationship or anything. I'm not making any judgments on these people's relationship because I don't know them. But the idea that just the fact that this man is 65 and she's 21 makes him a bad person, makes her a bad person, makes this a bad relationship, I'm not really convinced. I need more information, right? I need more information before I say that. I mean, look, it wouldn't be for me even now. I'm considerably older than she is, and I like my man younger. You know what I mean? I'm not interested in being a maid or a nursemaid, but I mean, which is what happens when you have an older person, they become old and sick. I mean, for heaven's sake. But I'm just saying, with all due respect, you can't just, judge these people. That's their choice. These are adults.